Hey, Adam Savage here at Udvar Hazy, and I am in front of an amazing object. Matt, I know what this object is because I've actually seen it before, but tell us what this object is.
Well, you've probably spent more time with it than I have since, we just acquired it. This is, the helmet from a suit of Goliath power armor from the television show The Expanse. It was donated by Alcon Television Group, and this particular helmet belonged to the character Sergeant Roberta Bobbie Draper, Martian Marine Corps Sergeant. So
the badass.
Yes,
She's
exactly.
So amazing. I love that you guys got her helmet.
Well, I love it too. I'm the curator of planetary science and exploration. That's my sort of main job. So mostly what I curate are, the tools, the experiments, the rovers, the landers that we use to explore planets. But I'm also really interested in, how we've used science fiction books, television, movies, games, all sorts of things to kind of imagine what it would be like to have humans on other planets, and in particular Mars.
Yeah.
And so Bobbie Draper with this Marine Corps helmet and the whole power armor suit are a great example of that. And I think it also has this great through line to this older history in science fiction of imagining these suits. If you've ever read Robert Heinlein's Starship Troopers, then you know that he has a very full description in that book of what a suit of power armor would be like, and how essentially a Marine or a infantryman on the ground would be able to have his entire life support system. Bobbie has weapons built into the suit. She has heads-up displays that come up that give her information inside of the visor.
May I?
Yes, go ahead and lift it up a little bit.
Oh.
In fact, there's a line in the second book where it says, a Marine has as much information in front of them so that they can see everything except for what's in front of them. The heads-up displays overwhelm them with information.
Amazing.
In the books, the suit is described as being made from titanium and ceramic and weighing close to 900 pounds.
Wow.
Yes, and so the only way that the Marine can actually function in the suit is the fact that it's computer controlled and that it has actuators built into every joint, to every part of the suit, and really is able to carry its own weight while augmenting the strengths of the soldier who's wearing it.
I love the fact that you can look at an object like this from a show from the last 5 years and connect it to science fiction ideas that are 70 years old.
Well, I think that's the incredible thing about, authors like Daniel Abraham and Ty Frank, who write under the name James S.A. Corey, who wrote the Expanse books, is that they are very knowledgeable about, how these technologies have been imagined over time in other science fiction works. And so they're very conversant in that language, and they, I wouldn't say borrow from it. They sort of, are part of that same lineage and come up with their own spin on these things that have been developed for all those years in science fiction.
It's just on a personal note. Do you love The Expanse?
Oh, absolutely.
Isn't it the best?
It is. And, I think a lot of people feel that way. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to collect this helmet from that series, not just because it represents this idea so well, but because it's such a loved program, so much so that when it was first, taken off the air off of Sci-Fi, the fans basically came to its rescue and helped to bring it to the attention of Amazon, where it lives now as a streaming show.
And the prop collecting community is so vibrant these days. Things like this would normally just disappear into a collection. So I'm really glad you guys get to put it on display and talk about that virtuous cycle of imagination and how that, some young person watching The Expanse today could be an aerospace engineer tomorrow, or an astronaut, or a conservator.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I really think that these suits and other things like these from science fiction really are inspirational. They help us to think about the questions that we need to ask and the problems we need to solve before we can do things. Now, I mean, one thing from science fiction that still hasn't really become a reality is that a lot of this science fiction dating back from the 40s and 50s and up to today, including The Expanse, imagined combat in space. And imagined that we would need ground forces in space, not just ships. And so you have all of these sort of very well imagined space navies and space armies.
Yeah.
Heinlein had his mobile infantry from the Terran Army, and in the Expanse you have the United Nations Space Forces, and then you also have the Martian Navy and its Marine Corps. Ground forces, ground troops, we just haven't had that in space. And, I like to think hopefully we never actually will need that.
I totally agree.
But in terms of imagine how you can operate safely in space and do more in space, I think this helmet and the suit that it goes with really tell that story, right? You're protected when you're inside of this suit. Yeah. And it's not a big, bulky suit. It is heavy, but it's not bulky. And it contains everything you need to survive like a heavy impact. It has like a impact absorbing gel inside of it, which we learned from the books. So, it really is this self-contained vessel that protects a spacefarer. And so, I like to imagine it more for that purpose than for the military purpose. But in the context of the books and in the television show, war between Earth and Mars is a reality. Yeah. War with the Belters is a reality. So, the suit has that function there.
Now, am I right that these two things here are little lights for lighting the actor's face?
I think there are lights, and there are also fans in there to help keep
noticed
the actor
fans.
cool.
I thought that was really clever. They built the fans in back here to blow across to keep her breath from fogging on the glass.
One of the things that was key to bringing this suit to life was, of course, the actor, Frankie Adams, who does just such an incredible job of portraying Bobbie Draper in the show. And so it's hard to imagine this helmet without seeing her face inside of it.
Oh, so might you...
I think we're going to have some imagery. I think we're going to have some imagery with her in the suit, because we don't want to just display the suit on its own.
Is there anything about this that surprised you when it arrived, when you first got to inspect it in person?
Well, I wasn't actually, I had seen some images of it. I had not seen it in person. And so seeing it in person with the sort of battle scars that it has, that definitely had an impact on me, thinking about the story that's related to the helmet, and not just the helmet as a piece of imaginary technology, but as a part of a story that a lot of people have really come to love.
Yeah. Matt, thank you so much. It's such a thrill. I'm really glad you guys got this in the collection.
Well, thank you.
Amazing.